American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears is Perfect Pervis, and this is American football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Q. Q, what's going on?
What's up? We back.
Once again, the AFF podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. The American Football in Finland podcast is now available on more than 30 different platforms. Wherever you listen, be sure to rate us. Anything less than 5 stars will tell us that you are a hater. If you're listening to my voice, you're now part of the AFF community. But don't be shy about supporting us. Head over to our website and order some AFF swag. Get a t-shirt for this beautiful summer weather, or a comfy hoodie you can rock all year long. And if you really want the drip, scoop up one of our limited edition snapback caps. Everything you need to represent the AFF community can be found on our website at americanfootballinfinland.com/merch. TIF. And never forget TIF. So it's first down, and in light of what happened from us recording on a Sunday last week, and then games getting canceled, and then finding out certain people weren't going to be playing games, we're not doing a normal first down. For this first down, we're going to talk about what everybody want to hear, and we're going to talk about Lee Anthony REASNOVER and what happened, how it impacts the league. Q, just want to hear your thoughts on it. First off, about what went down and how you feel about it.
From what I heard, I think the punishment was excessive, in my opinion. You only have, how many games? 10, 12?
12 games. And I think they played 3
12
already.
games. They played 3 already. Supposedly, allegedly, I guess it was a 4-game suspension.
Yeah.
For something that happened after the game. This is why I think that it was excessive, because it happened after the game. If you want to find a team, if you want to suspend him for a game, then okay. But this is more like they were trying to make a statement, in which I mean, viewers didn't see it, then it wasn't really a reason for a statement. You didn't really see it, you just heard about it. So a 4-game suspension is ridiculous in this matter, because that's a punch. It's supposed to be a punch. There's worse things that you can do, if all that, then that. And then to be in during the game, I can understand. But 4 is a little excessive, in my opinion. That heavily impacts the Kuopio season, like heavily. If he stays there and misses 4 games, yes, they probably still can win some games, but that's a big difference of a season. So I think that was just real. I think that was very excessive. Surprising that it happened. I know in the heat of the moment, sometimes in games like this, when you lose and there's some chirping going on, you get a little overwhelmed sometimes, and maybe you lose your cool. But I think you take that as, okay, we'll punish him or let Kuopio decide what they want to do, and go forward with it. But a 4-game suspension is just ridiculous in my mind. I've seen a lot of stuff happen in Finland, and they make the rules, they call it or whatever, but I just think it heavily affected the Kuopio team and the league. It's just, I mean, that's the best player, pretty much top 2 players in the league. Not saying that he's excluded from being punished, but 4 games, that's a lot, man. Like, literally, that's a lot. Like, that's almost half the man's season. So, I didn't like it, and it's crazy, but it shook up the league, and it's up in the air now. Like,
Yeah.
the championship, the playoffs, everything is up in the air right now. Cross.
Yeah, man. Just to add on, I mean, my thoughts on the whole situation is, obviously, and I think I'm one of the people that I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know, and I'm not going to act like I do, but I also feel like there's a lot to this story that we just won't ever know. The fact that anyone got suspended for 4 games, I can't speak for the totality of football in Finland, obviously, but this podcast is on year 6. I've been watching football here. This podcast is year 7. Is it year 7? I think it's year 7, 6 or 7, something like that. But I've been watching football here for almost 8 years now, and in this time, the only large, suspensions that I've seen is, the Charles Ward thing. I think he was banned for a year for that, right? Or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which made
Yeah.
sense because he swung off I think he swung a helmet on someone who didn't have a helmet. I think he took off somebody's helmet and then swung off on him. That was
Yeah.
him and Roman Runner.
I don't even think Roman Runner wasn't even that bad. I don't even think they suspended him for that many games, did it?
No, I don't think Roman Runner got suspended. Was Roman Runner the one that did that? Shoot, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he Roman threw his helmet.
Okay. Roman
Threw his
threw
helmet.
through his helmet. Then that's the one I'm thinking of, like probably the worst that I've
Yeah.
seen. And if
Yeah.
I think whoever that was, I don't know why I said Charles Ward. Sorry, I didn't mean to put Ward out there like that.
He might have threw it at Charles Ward.
He threw it at Charles Ward. Okay. I don't remember the situation that well. I just remember someone threw a helmet at somebody, and I think they got suspended for a year. And I think that is justifiable because of the physical implications. That's so dangerous because if you hit someone with a helmet, that could be the end of them. But when you're talking about someone who punches somebody in the field of the game, throwing a punch, yeah, you should lose the rest of that game and the next game. After a game, throwing a punch, you should lose the next game. I could even see you saying, it's malicious intent to throw a punch afterwards because it has nothing to do with the game. It's not heat of the battle. It's a calculated move. 2 games. I can get that. But 4 games, that makes no sense. And before the league put out anything and before the Steelers put out anything, everyone knew that he was gone. And there was a lot of rumors. He decided to leave. He left because of the suspension. Him and the team got into it. I've heard a lot of different stories. I don't really care what any of them is, but we do know that this season is going to be much different than what it would have been if he would have stayed on that. And so in my opinion, I don't think it's great. I think it's actually bad for the league as a whole because there's going to be a lot of rumors going around more than facts and a lot of speculation about what could have been. And, no matter who wins or who loses, how things could have been different. And, there's will be excuses. Oh, well, because of this, like it's going to do that for the rest of the season. We're going to try to ignore it the best we can, but the rest of the season, you're going to look at the Steelers and say, well, if this would have been different. Or you're gonna look at, certain games and say, oh, well, if this would have been different. And it's only because of a situation that I think just got out of hand too fast. There wasn't enough control around. I think it's one of those situations where if people had been put in check during the game, maybe after the game they wouldn't have felt so, hostile.
Yeah.
Because to be upset in that game from a week ago, Crocodiles against Steelers, there had to be something going on throughout the game because Crocodiles dominated. So for there to be someone throwing a punch after handshaking, there had to be some type of cheekiness going on from, I think, both sides throughout the game. And that's something that needs to be checked by team personnel, referees, etc. But if you don't, then something like this happens and we're in this situation. But we won't, dwell on it too much. But, we will miss him, Anthony REASNOVER, this season and wish him the best of luck wherever he lands or whatever he decides to do next. Can't speak for, what happened on the field, but from my interactions with him, he's a quality guy, great character. If you ever need a reference from me, he'll get one. When people ask me about running backs, he'll get a positive cosign. But that's all I can say about it.
He'll be in Germany somewhere, ELF or something.
I wouldn't go.
I mean, he's a good dude though, man. So it's such a situation, man, that you see, that very, very, very impacts. It has a big impact on Kuopio's projected season, and it's almost like, and that's like you said, it's going to be a lot of rumors. Somebody paid for this. somebody paid for this, man. 4 games, man. Like, but either way, you just try to all the players, just try to find yourself, not getting into situations like that, and just keep it on the field for the most part, man. You're gonna talk noise and enjoy the sport, but in Finland, it's still football. It's fun. Enjoy the trash talk. But when the game's over, let's shake hands. We can keep the trash talk going all season if you want to. It just makes for better football. But you don't want to find yourself in situations like this.
Yeah, it's also one of those things. Like, I mean, I think me and you would have a unique view on it that you can own. I'm trying not to get too much into it, but everybody out here who's listening will understand that some people in this world, they're waiting for you to mess up. They're waiting for you to slip. And they're waiting for a certain type of person to slip. And he happened to fit the bill, like it's one of those situations where there's nobody. I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think anybody would assume that if this had been someone else throwing a punch at the end of the game, that they would have got a 4-game suspension and that we'd be in this situation.
Yeah.
I don't
know
think
the Seinäjoki lineman today, so
yeah,
the same one who got ejected for throwing a punch.
Yeah,
he played in the game today, so I don't understand how these,
I'm assuming that they appealed it and won the appeal or something. I'm going to assume
he didn't connect. He didn't connect.
Yeah, maybe he didn't connect. He got bad aim, so that works out for him. But again, it's one of those situations. I think you kind of hit it on it a little bit when you're trying to give some advice to people that are listening, especially guys who aren't domestic players. Just remember that you are held to a higher standard. The reason being a lot of reasons. I won't get into them. I think there's a specific reason, but this is not that type of podcast, so we let it ride, and we'll get into the show now. So, players of the week have been announced on our social media channels earlier this week, but of course, we want to get into our picks this week. There's only 2 games, but we did see a few players that stood out. First player for Offensive Player of the Week, Isaac Marshall. I'm going to change his position to athlete for the Kuopio Steelrs. Stat-wise, he had 16 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Then he had 3 receptions, 27 yards. To me, Isaac Marshall kind of stepped up for this team that was down 2 running backs. They lost their first and second string running back from the week before. And Isaac originally is a running back, but he's been playing receiver for the Steelers for almost 3 seasons now. And he looked good at running back. He looked natural. Yep. He was fast, quick, made good decisions, had great field vision, got them yards. He averaged almost 5 yards a touch. Honestly, him and Noah Choate, my hats go off to both of them for stepping up and doing a really good job. I mean, I honestly think he could have just been a running back, but he also had some important catches. His stats, only 3 receptions for 27 yards. I feel like he caught like 5 balls for 80. Like when I was watching the game, I don't know if maybe some got called back, but when he caught passes, they were like important passes. I know it says he only got 3 receptions, but I'm just going to assume that on each one of them receptions, he got a first down. Like every time he caught the ball, it was like pivotal for them to move the ball. And then on the running back side, again, he kept them going in a way that we didn't really think they were going to be able to do, losing their top 2 running backs. And just kudos to Isaac Marshall for just showing up and, doing what his team needed from him in this game. You got any thoughts on him?
No, you just go off of what you said. He did have some nice little gashes of yards to keep some drives going for him. He was about the most positive thing on their offense all day, most consistent thing. So he definitely stepped in. He kept them. He was a part of why they did, eventually, win the game because they just couldn't stop his little dink 4 or 5 yards that he was getting, and they couldn't get off the field like they needed to. But he's deserving of it. Real standout. And just big ups to him for doing what his team needed for this game. So, yeah, he definitely balled.
Yeah, and then on the defensive side, we're actually still going from the same game. Defensive back, number 27, Andy Vera from the UNC Crusaders. He had 3.5 tackles, 3 PBUs, 1 interception. Just from what I saw, he got a lot of action. He got a lot of action, and he was able to be successful. What are your thoughts on Vera in this game?
I think they might have cheated him a little bit on the pass breakups because I think he had more than that.
Yeah, it looked like more.
Yeah, he stopped a lot of third downs, second and longs, third downs. He was there. Breakups, like the man right there had the Kuopio import receiver on stilts for the most part. Like he played great. That was a great game from him. Like I hope he knows like that showed a lot. Because you need guys like that show up against teams like Kuopio, who short against the better teams, who is afraid to make those type of plays and he did get a PI call. You know what I mean? It's hard to like really be there for those pass breakups and not get PI calls. So he definitely balled out. Their whole secondary actually played pretty good, I think. They had one corner who had a long day, but for the most part, him and RJ held it down on the defense, but he definitely was deserving. RJ had some big interceptions too, so he could have probably been up there, but buddy, he balled. Andy, hey, great game for you, man. Great game.
It's something when you play cornerback, and like I said, like they didn't shy away from him. Like it's not like he had like 2 breakup. He had an interception and 3 PBUs. That's 4 passes defense, and he probably had closer to 7 in this game.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. That's hard to do and be successful, because most guys who end up like even someone like RJ who had 2 interceptions in this game, he maybe got the ball thrown his way like 3 times. Like that's usually what you get when you're being successful. He was successful and they still kept trying him. And that's just perseverance. And Eddie Vedder just letting you know, man, you might be working your way up to that all Finland team this year. Because he
playing like that. He definitely.
Yeah, defensive backs, I'm looking too, because I haven't seen a lot. So having a standout game like that puts you on top of the radar. And now we're going to keep watching you every time you play against a good receiver. So shout out to both the players of the week. Calling all youth skills players, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties. If you were born between 2009 and 2003, this midsummer is your opportunity to shine. We'll be hosting our annual AFF Nordic Challenge 7 vs 7 tournament in Helsinki on June 21st. Top performers will be selected to join the AFF Team Revo 7v7 travel team that will be competing internationally in the autumn season. Team Revo will also play for the European Championship in the spring of 2024. Due to field availability, registration will close once we meet the maximum number of participants. So head over to our website and sign up today. Registration can be completed at AmericanFootballInFinland.com/Nordic-Challenge. So we know what happened in the last 2 games, but let's go over each one and kind of talk about who won or lost. Steelers versus Crusaders, man. Did the Steelers win or did the Crusaders lose it? What do you think?
Crusaders lost this game.
Thank you.
Crusaders.
I'm glad you said
UNC Crusaders lost this game. Their defense kept them in the game the whole game. Kept in the game the whole game. You get 3 turnovers, 4 turnovers, and you got to put those into points. All they needed was like 14 points to 21 points, and they would have won this game. They really should have blew Kuopio out. I'm going to be honest. They should have blew Kuopio out. The quarterback for UNC played horrible.
I'm glad you said
this is his second, third game. He played horrible. Like, I'm not a quarterback, but I know I could have probably made some of those throws that he missed. Had Shed wide open a few times. Had RJ open a few times. Just bad balls, throwing all up like he just didn't care.
Did you see like there are so many balls like they're throwing like slants, my man, and he throwing them behind the receivers. All these receivers, almost every time they threw the ball, they just got the head down, shaking it, and walking back to the
huddle.
Like,
you seen the body language was terrible. The
like,
body
what
language
was
was
supposed
terrible.
to do. And the worst part, they're open. Like this was not a game that this is not a game that when you look at the schedule that the Crusaders were supposed to be able to get a win from. But due to unforeseen circumstances, they should have won this game. And they should have won it easily the way that the Steelers offense was playing. I'm just gonna tell you exactly what my notes say on Cornelius Kinchin, the quarterback. Weak link for the offense. Reason they lost. Inaccurate throws. Doesn't run. Doesn't give them a chance to win. I've tried so far this season not to be too negative on the guy, but he was the reason they lost. I think their defense played really good, just like you said. RJ played the game of his life. I know stat-wise it might not have been one of his best, but that guy did everything.
On defense and offense.
He played safety. He got 2 picks. He was
Touchdown.
making tackles too. I don't know what his stats was, but he was active in the run support. Like he was out there. Number 8 was out there. And then on offense, he was getting open. And even when they finally got a touchdown from him, he had to do it with one hand because the dude was holding him. They didn't even call PI. I don't know why they didn't. Well, I guess because he scored. And that was when they finally got the ball to him where he could make a catch because he had been open all game. And I feel really bad for RJ because I feel like he is doing way more than what he needs to for this team average.
Quarterbacks. He got to go. He got to go.
The defense did really good though.
Yeah, defense played great. Defense played good. I mean, against Kuopio, they got gassed a little bit. They added some. USC had added a D lineman. He had some work that he got done. He got done in there. So I think they're putting together these right pieces to actually help them be one of the better teams. But they definitely should have stole. They should have stole this game.
They should have stole this one. I like what they did with the Dante Edwards, the D lineman, number 25. They put him at linebacker a few times, kind of that way he wouldn't be away from the play. He could kind of work to it. I think that helped them stop the run at certain times early in the game. And then when it was past situations, he went down to DN and he was able to beat the Steelers tackles pretty much all game. But it was just if the play wasn't going that way, he wasn't as effective. So they put him at linebacker where he could read the play and not have to get upfield so fast. I think the Crusaders defense, they're making some strides, and this game kind of showed it and proved it that they're working towards getting better. But I feel like we're just gonna have to keep saying, like, it don't matter if you can't score. If your quarterback can't get the ball to people, like even the passes to the running back, they had that one screen pass where I think,
oh my God,
if he could have just tossed the ball to the running back, Seth was going to make it happen. Like Seth Rowland, he still led the team in rushing and receiving for the 3rd time this season. But like you got to figure out a way to get. I don't know if they need to have the quarterback move around more.
They got to get him out of there. It's only one thing they can do, Pervis, and get him a ticket back to the crib. This just wasn't the idea that they had in mind. I'm sure from the film they probably thought they would be. But film can be decisive. You know, they can disguise themselves in that film, man. Like, and the dude probably is a good player. I can see little spurts of him that actually can make plays. But like, you got RJ, you got Seth on your offense. There's no reason why you shouldn't be scoring any touchdowns. Like, there's no reason, especially against this Kuopio team who just took a big blow. You know, they took a big blow. And this is when you got to get them. When they just lost their best player on their team. Like, you got to take advantage of that. And
this was that game. This was that game that could have put them in the play. Like, this is that game that they're gonna look back and be like, if we're one game out the playoffs, this was the game. This was the game that would have put us. Like, hold on. They had a close game against the Butchers too, though. Like they were down 19-14 against the Butchers at half. And that's 2 weeks. You got to win one of these games. I might have to start calling them the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. They got talent. Like, ain't no denying the talent they got, but they got to be able to do something with it. But you know what? That's a good segue because we're talking mostly Crusaders over here. Let's talk about the Steelers quarterback, Amber Johansson, who had 3 interceptions and 1 fumble. He averaged 1 turnover every quarter. He had an interception in the first, interception in the second, fumble in the third, interception in the fourth.
Yeah. Let me talk about this first. His confidence was shot. I think REASNOVER being not there is like your scapegoat. Is where you don't have to win the game necessarily. Yeah. But this game, I think he took it upon himself to feel like I have to. A lot of the interceptions that he threw, he stared the guy down, he floated the ball. Like, I don't know if Ambrose know the history of RJ Long. If the Maple League kept records of teams that were no longer in the league, and I'm going back to 2000.
They do keep a record. You just let me know what year, I'll go find it.
Okay. So 2000, this is my year coaching the Helsinki 69. It's 2015, I believe. RJ had 10 interceptions that season.
I believe
itself. And it all was because of quarterbacks doing what they were doing. Like, they don't look off receivers. He's a receiver, so he knows how to read and go get the ball. But anyway, Ambrose, I don't know why he tried him or why he was throwing the ball the way he was throwing it. I don't know if it's because of the rain, the ball was wet. I don't know what it was, but his confidence got shot. You could tell it just was not there. He can make those intermediate routes. He can make those throws any day out of the week. But as far as deep routes, it's just not his thing. It wasn't happening, at least anywhere in between the seams. It's not happening. And he had my goodness, like he had a
RJ
bad
had
game.
8 interceptions in 2015. I just looked up his stats. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So I knew it was about. So I knew it was.
But he
like,
did lead the league,
should have
though.
been 10.
He
It should have been
had
10.
But he did lead the league, and he had 2 touchdowns on him, too.
It's Ambrose just get better. Obviously, I think we looking at it as he's a quarterback of Kuopio, so I kind of sometimes is better than the average quarterback, but he's still learning.
He's not playing better than the
improvement.
average quarterback, though. Like, that's the thing is,
Yeah,
the Ambrose that we saw that came in very seldomly for the Helsinki Roosters looked like he would be a better than average quarterback, which when you put a better than average quarterback on the Steelers team, they win this game by 2 touchdowns. He's not playing better than average. He's playing worse than average. And we got to be realistic. In the 3 games they've played this season, what does he have? 6 interceptions?
Yeah.
That's not good. Like, at least if I look on the other side, the Kitchen guy, he might not be winning them games. I mean, he probably losing them games too, but he's not just giving away the ball so many times. Like in this game, 4 turnovers by your quarterback. That goes back to what we said about the Roosters guy when he had 4 turnovers. But this is Ambrose doing 4 turnovers after doing 3 turnovers. Did he throw 3 like a week or 2 ago? Like the numbers are stacking up in a way that you're saying, why are we still like putting him in this position? Why are we allowing him to make these? That's my real question. And I know in this game you're shorthanded, so you feel like they didn't really have to do a lot of these. They did not have to. This offense has seen success getting the ball to Vincent McDonald without getting him downfield. Throw this big ass receiver a hitch and watch him work. Like you do not have to do corner routes and post and fades. Like throw a hitch, throw a shallow, throw a crossing route, and let this big man work. And same thing with Hannes Harju. He runs routes. Have him run some crossers. He don't have to run everything downfield. No offense to the Crusaders, but they weren't going to stop no crossing routes. They weren't going to stop nothing short. And let Ambrose work in that area. Like you said, he could throw medium range, but it's those balls that go over 10 to 12 yards. That's where he's having issue. When he has to put it in the right spot and he doesn't. I want to say like all the throws were pretty much bad except for the last interception where it bounced off of Hannes Harju and then popped up into the air and then RJ got it. But other than that, that one was on point. It actually hit his receiver. But the rest of them, just bad throws. And I'm not trying to blame him as a quarterback, but I do feel that you got to put him in a better situation if you know that he's going to be limited. His deep ball is not accurate at this point in his career. It can get better, but there's no point in forcing it, saying, oh, we're just going to get the kinks out. If he can't throw it now, he can't throw it. Like it doesn't matter how much you play. He's not going to be able to throw it. I said earlier in the season that one game where he had 4 touchdowns to Hannes Harju, 3 of them were underthrown. And but Hannes was like wide open and took a couple of them from defenders. In this game, you don't have your receivers being able to make those type of plays for you. And look what happened. It's just one of those things like the Steelers have to move on from this project with Ambrose. I'm not saying move on from him. I'm saying you can't keep treating him like he's an import quarterback, putting him in situations like you would do an import, having him throw it 30 times a game. That shouldn't be their role. Even without REASNOVER at running back, he still should not be throwing 30 times a game. We saw in this last game, they have enough people who can carry the ball well enough for this team that they don't have to do that. So why do that and risk of your team not developing? Because in this game, this was bad football. Like, in my opinion, both sides, this was not good football. I feel like the Crusaders benefited from the Steelers playing bad defensively. I give them credit because they did have to play, but Steelers looked like crap. And then the Crusaders couldn't capitalize because their offense is worse, much worse, with a quarterback that can't get it to their receivers, which is their bread and butter. And you got 2 teams that are set up to score certain ways, and they weren't able to do it. And I guess it kind of goes, in my opinion, it goes to your coaching at this point is how are you not able to get the ball to your playmakers? And now I'm talking to both teams, not just Steelers or Crusaders. Like, both of these teams have playmakers on offense. I think defensively they both did what they could, but for the Crusaders, you got some of the best receivers in the game and a running back who is doing everything. How are you not able to get them the ball and get scores from? And then you have RJ playing defense. He had an interception. He wishes he would have scored when he ran it back. He got them down to like the 20-some yard line, and they couldn't score. Same thing for the Steelers. They're moving the ball. 2 of those interceptions in the red zone. And then the third where he fumbled the ball, he fumbled it on his own like 20-some yard line. Like, these are just bad plays. And that's what this whole game was. One team doing bad, and then the other team doing bad. Then one team doing bad, then the other team doing bad. It's just not it's not good for anything. I feel like I'm going back to the REASNOVER thing because I feel like if REASNOVER was here, it would have been 48-0. I would have only watched the first half, and we'd be done talking about it. But it's upsetting me that this is what I had to watch. What was it, a Friday? Was it a Thursday night game too? Yeah. On my Thursday night watching this thing. It was only 7-0 at half, so I had to watch the whole second half. And then it was, 13-7 for the final of the game. But I'm going to leave it alone, man. Let's move to the next game. Hey, I know I'm getting upset. So the second game was the Sunday night game. Crocodiles versus Butchers. Who do you think won or lost this one?
Ooh, Crocodiles won. Fair and square. Better team on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball. They're the most complete team. Big interception return from Eric Irvin. Right now, Eric probably, I don't want to say deep, like to put it out there as far as defensive player of the year, but he had a lot of blocks, punt blocks, kick out, field goal blocks, like some big plays. So right now, Eric Irvin is doing exactly what the Crocs brought him over there to do. He's active every game. He's doing something that's impacting the game every game. It's crazy that he's.
It's interesting to see him do that coming from that Wolverines team last year that we expected more from their secondary, and it seemed like they just didn't put him in the right spot. And he goes to the Crocodiles, and like you said, in this game, he was active. That interception, that wasn't it just happened to come to me. He went and took it. He broke on that ball, and that's all she wrote. He got good speed. But like you said, like he's making plays all over the field, not just, in the passing game, but he's also making blocks. He's active and tackling as usual. Yeah, he's definitely putting his name in the ballot for Defensive Player of the Year. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he's been balling, man. I can't even take it away from him. But just the fact of what he gives the team now, the Crocs look like the best team in the league right now. I can't even lie. They look like the best team in the league. They're sound. This is what happens when you have a plan and you plan this 2-3 years out. Now you're reaping the benefits of it. A lot of teams don't like to wait to get to this point, but it means so much more when you have to calculate and get a guy like Powell and make him comfortable, and then you bring Zach Whitehead in and he's there. And it's like he doesn't have to have these crazy 300, 400-yard passing games. He doesn't have to throw the ball 30 times a game. Their defense is solid. Front seven is solid. The Crocs are just doing what they have to do to keep staying healthy and getting themselves out of these games. They go up, they score, they kick field goals. This is a complete team. Yeah. So at the end of the day, sometimes you don't have to have a secondary full of just big name people. You don't have to have your D-line stacked with all these people. But if you put the right pieces together on the
D-line
right team,
is kind of stacked though.
So the D-line is stacked. But I mean, as far as like they're just a team of, I think, egoless players. And they're showing it. And they're winning. They should be undefeated. They should be undefeated at this point. But they're up, 3-1 now? So they're in the catbird seat. As Shannon Sharp would say, they're in the catbird seat. So shout out to the Crocs, man. They doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about long, honestly, because I feel like you said it all. They're the most complete team right now, and they showed it. This game, they beat them like they beat the Steelers. Just went out there and did it. But got a little bit of time to talk about the Dallas Cowboys of the league. You know what? We might have to stop calling them Dallas Cowboys because that team, they ain't got it. They do not have it. What I saw from this team today is a team that doesn't have any depth. The Butchers, we've seen them be really good, but in this game, no Mickey J, No Bakembe Kerne, no Robert Carlson. Who else you don't have? No Nico Pennanen. Like you're missing all these players in a game that really will let you know where you are in the season, and you don't have them. So we don't know what their team is because now they're missing players that could have made them better, could have made this a more competitive game. They just start moving people around because they didn't have people. Nico Royko playing at cornerback. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but that's not a good spot for him. And then they got three of their receivers are playing in their defensive back and playing on the receiver side, like Lucas Erola, Christian Kontinen, and Mikko Sepinen. That's your three top receivers, all playing defense and offense in this game. And then at some point in the game, Zach Wright comes over and starts playing running back. The Butchers, they didn't try to win this game, and that's what really upsets me. I feel like even the Dallas Cowboys try to win games, but this team, they didn't have the depth, and now their best players are getting spread too thin in a game that they already, even if they didn't have to play both ways, it was going to be tough. But once I saw those guys playing both ways, I was like, oh, this is just formality. They're trying to get through the game. They're not trying to win the game. They're trying to make it to the next game. But I do want to give a shout out to the running back, number 22. I can't remember his name. It's like Heavenin or something like that. He looked good. Young guy could run. He's still no Mickey J. And I think that's one of those things. Like if you had both of them, Mickey J could have helped on defense, and maybe the young kid could have still had a good rushing game, or change of speed with two backs. But again, the Butchers really they didn't try to win this game, in my opinion. And I know they're going to say, we had to play shorthanded. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. That's always the case. It's football. You don't always get your best roster every week. You don't always get healthy players every game. But if you're not prepared for this type of stuff, I know this was a lot because you're missing, I guess, a couple guys at different positions. That's a lot to handle. But the fact that you replace them with guys who are already on one side of the ball lets us know that you didn't really have a plan. You came into the season saying, these are our best guys and this is what we're going to play with. You got a team of it takes 11 on the field. If you have 11 guys on offense and 4 of those guys are also playing defense, what are you playing with? 16 players? Like maybe 20, 25 tops? Like that's going to be hard to beat anybody, let alone the best team in the league, which I guess we call the Crocodiles now, right? The best team in the league. So you're gonna play the best team in the league and you're not gonna give them your best shot. I take offense to that, and I feel like they don't deserve to be called the Dallas Cowboys anymore because of it. But I'm gonna keep calling them that because I think they understand. Yeah. Oh, and guess who joined us? Chris Green. Welcome to the show, man.
Yo, what's up?
We, as people should know, especially from listening to the last show, we record on Sundays, man. So Chris is still out there winning games sometimes. So he jumped on late. But any last things about this Butchers Crocodiles game before we get out of here?
I mean, who was it who made the comment pre-game and said they want to get rid of this Dallas Cowboys?
It was an interview.
Was that right?
Yeah, it was Zach Wright. I did an interview with Zach Wright, and he put that in his answers. I did not ask him about the Dallas Cowboys. He put that out there. I was like, that has to
hey, like you say, they don't even deserve to be called the Dallas Cowboys now, but they still the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, like, I mean, we didn't think they were going to win, but we didn't think they were going to be this bad, like in this game. And still, I just don't understand how it still fits the Dallas Cowboys because they're so up and down. We get a good game, we get a bad game. We get a good game, we get a bad game. But at this point, they
trade quarterbacks. Brandon Gordon could go to UNC, and I wish they could trade. I wish they could trade in the Maple League. I wish we could do trades.
If we could do trades, there are some trades that I would do. You know what we should do this year? I know we're just ramping on this one topic, but at like the midsummer break or something, we should do like a hypothetical what if you could trade like now in the middle of the season, like week 6 or week 7 or something, right? Like,
yeah,
because we're in week 4. Let's get to like week 6 or 7, and then just do a segment about if teams could trade who and where. Let's just do a random. We'll just do it.
I mean, teams can buy other players. You can trade. Like I did it when I played out there. Shit, I was on the Indians. I went to the Wolverines.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
doable.
I know it's possible, but it doesn't happen in the Maple League. When Sid went from the Wolverines to the UNC to the Crusaders, that's the only time I've seen like a player like leave and go stay in the league in the same season. And I don't think he did a trade. I don't know what happened. But yeah, that's why we should do a show, because maybe they can still do it. Because like week 6 or 7, you still got enough games too that you can play and stuff. But yeah, we'll get into that later. So, Maple League teams are back in action this week on Friday. We got Friday game, Royals versus Wolverines, and then the Butchers versus the Steelrs on Saturday, and Crusaders play the Crocodiles on the Sunday night game, Sunday afternoon game. So, let's spend a little bit of time looking into each one of these matchups. First game, Royals versus Wolverines. Any interesting storylines, questions y'all thinking about for this one?
How will the Wolverines bounce back after this bye week? Because they've had a bye week now, trying to sort some problems out. Like, what have they been doing in this bye week? You know, are they going to be competitive in this game?
I think they've been playing for their Division 1 team. I think that's what they did. That's all they did was they probably won a game. I don't know if they actually won, but they probably won the first division game so they could get a one win for the franchise. I wonder if I can find that stat wise. I don't know. What about what about like a matchup in this game? What are you guys thinking? What will be a important one to watch?
I'd say Reels against Timothy. Maybe that spy game. Timothy will obviously try to move around when he can on that defense. So Reels maybe having to watch him in the game. And I think the Royals offense will do what it needs to do to win this game though. And I think that defense will be pretty solid too. But I think Alpha against this defense, young defense, is going to be crazy.
Oh wow, yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. This will be a confidence. Not saying the Wolverines won't play. I think this will actually be a better game than we think, though. But I think overall the Royals is a better team. They'll come out victorious on it. But I think this will be a time for Alpha to really get his feet under him and start doing the Alpha things that we used to see in every game. So.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the games where he's going to look like a creative player against those kids.
Hey, them DBs are going to have their work cut out for them, that's for sure. They're going to be getting work this game.
Oh, and they might be tired because I think the U17 season started now too, so they might be doubling up on those games. I think the U20 season just ended a couple weeks ago, but some of those kids are on the U17 team as well, so. Got a lot of games going on for the Wolverines, playing U17, men's first division, and Maple League all at the same time with pretty much the same players. Oh, one interesting aspect for this game, finally, I feel like it's been forever, but I hope, I could be wrong, but we will finally get to see them in the blue jersey. We didn't get to see it last week because they canceled the game.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the field. Hopefully they get the field this week. I don't know it's a week later, but hopefully they get the field this week and we get to see the blue jerseys from the Wausau Royals. I'm excited about seeing those. I just want to see how it looks with the chrome numbers, the blue on the gold with the white helmet. Like, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. Well, hopefully it works out for them. We'll get to the next game. Calling all youth skills players. Quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties. If you were born between 2009 and 2003, this midsummer is your opportunity to shine. We'll be hosting our annual AFF Nordic Challenge 7 vs 7 tournament in Helsinki on June 21st. Top performers will be selected to join the AFF Team Revo 7v7 travel team that will be competing internationally in the autumn season. Team Revo will also play for the European Championship in the spring of 2024. Due to field availability, registration will close once we meet the maximum number of participants. So head over to our website and sign up today. Registration can be completed at americanfootballinfinland.com/Nordic-challenge. Or we can do this quickly. The second game of the weekend is going to be the Porvoo Butchers versus the Kuopio Steelrs. Anything what's a question or storyline for this one? Let's go REASNOVER. Let's ignore that. What else could we talk about in this game?
How many picks is Ambro going to throw?
Woo, damn.
That boy just be floating that ball up there for DBs to come take it.
Oh man, so mean but so accurate. I do over under 2 picks.
You probably get evens for that.
I think he throws.
He's throwing 3 again.
That's why I say 2 is the over under. He's either going to throw more or less than 2, 2.5. I guess is where you put it at. So you can't get 1, 2.5. I don't know. I don't think he throws that many against the Butchers. I think I like Zach Wright to get a couple picks, but I think if they go heavy on the run, which they should, and if they throw it to McDonald more than Haru and get the short stuff, I don't see the Butchers being able to get that many interceptions. But I'm optimistic. I still see 1 or 2 though. I think that's the way it goes. What about key matchup? What's the matchup you guys think is going to be good in this one?
Oh, I'll start off first. I'll say probably defensive line, front 7 against Brandon Gwinner. Seeing Brandon Gwinner obviously likes to run the ball. He will run the ball. I don't think he'll have much success on this defense because Leroy them he's just too active at the linebacker position. I don't think you can really run side to side on them. If you do gash them, you got to gash the middle. Mickey has to have a big game against them. Other than that, I think Kuopio still win this game. I just think they got too many people in the right place. But Porvo's defense has been pretty active. Also, they can't get turnovers. So if Ambrose is out there being careless with the ball, Porvo can stay in this game from that. So I think this will be. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything. I think it'll be maybe one touchdown, 2 touchdown win for Kuopio. But I do think it'll be some turnovers. I think it'll be an exciting game, just because Kuopio is still trying to figure out. They're trying to go ahead with the season. We haven't heard of them signing anybody else yet, so maybe they'll get some guys that's injured last week back. But I think Kuopio overall is a better team. But Pueblo has the ability to score points as long as Nico Sepulveda is still over there. Mickey, Brandon Gwinner, they always can score some points. So even Zach Wright, you can get an offensive play. So. We'll see what happens. I
don't want to talk about Dallas Cowboys, man. Like this is another game that the Butchers should be able to steal. Like, this is the perfect time to be playing the Steelers. And if we see the Butchers that was fully loaded, with Mickey J, they had Dikembe Kerne. I don't even know that situation of what happened to that import, but he's no longer on the team. And then, even on defensive side, not having Nico Pennanen, that sets them back. Having all their receivers play both sides of the ball, that's just not going to work against the Steelers. It's not going to help them. It's harder to be successful. Even in the last game, they had a lot of drop passes, and I think it has to do with focus and playing both ways. But like what Chris said at the beginning, Ambro might throw 4 or 5 interceptions, and that could keep the Butchers in the game. That could be the difference for them. I don't like either one of these teams in this game. How would it be possible to fast forward like 3 weeks in the season when the teams know what they want to do? And this is one of those games, like even for Pick'em this week, it's going to be tough because we don't know what to expect from the Steelers or the Butchers in this one. Like I couldn't tell you what either one of them is going to be able to do well outside of both having good defensive line play. That's it. Interesting aspect about this one, I think the Butchers are the home team. That's interesting. Kuopio gets to travel. For some reason, when Kuopio's played in Kuopio, like that field seems to be like slick or wet. Maybe it rained in the last game they played, right? And then the game before that, I don't think it was wet, but I don't think people like playing on that grass in general. So the Butchers playing at home, they've been playing at that turf field, but I think now it's middle of June, they might go back to their regular grass field. So it should look something like the Steelers field. Or I don't know, maybe Porvoo and Kuopio grass is different. Maybe they got that Bermuda Kush grass out there in Porvoo compared to what they have in Kuopio. I don't know. But that's about the most interesting thing about this game is we don't know who's going to what two teams are going to show up, and we just hope that they play on a good grass field. Okay, so last game is the UNC Crusaders versus Seinäjoki Crocodiles. This will be the game, quote unquote, game of the week, which, again, Crusaders got the talent, but, you know, it is what it is. Storyline for this one, I think this is very accurate, is how much more can RJ Long do for this team? Like, I don't know what else he can do outside of playing quarterback his damn self to put this team in a position to win a game. Because he's already playing receiver and defensive back, averaging, 2 interceptions a game? He's played 2 games at DB and got 4 interceptions. He's well on his way to another 8 to 10 interception season. And he's also catching one-handed passes and scoring touchdowns on offense whenever the quarterback can actually get the ball to him. And he's going to have to do that twice as well against the Crocodiles team that is going to be able to guard them at every position on the field. They don't have an advantage outside of that person named RJ Long against the Crocodiles. So, and I think the Crocodiles' defensive line is going to be much better than what they just played against. So they're definitely in trouble. So that's my question: is how much more can RJ Long do? Key matchup.
I got one.
Go for it.
So my key matchup is going to be the Crusaders' offensive line against the Crocodiles' defensive line, because we've seen so far from this season that UNC offensive line is not up to scratch. And they're, as you just said, they're playing a real good front seven here in the Crocodiles, and their defensive line eats. So it's going to be a tough day at the office for this UNC Crusaders offensive line. But if they can give him the time, you know, maybe they get RJ the ball a bit more, because the QB is struggling to find him at the moment, and he's having to make circus catches when the ball's coming to him. Like the catch he caught this week in the end zone for a touchdown was ridiculous. But that matchup is so key because he needs time, and when they're in the backfield stopping the run game as well, it's so difficult for them. So that's going to be a real key matchup for this week.
I'm trying to look it up, but I can't remember. But the Crocodiles are continually adding to their defensive line, because I just noticed in this last game that they played, what was that guy's name that played? His name is like Chekin or Kekin or something like that. He used to play for the Royals.
The Royals before, yeah. Is it Thomas Chekin? Is it Thomas Chekin? Yeah,
it's Thomas. That's the name. Thomas Chekin. Yeah, I remember seeing the last name on his jersey, like, hold on, is that who I think it is? And yeah, it was in this game. If that guy is also playing on their defense line, like, they're stacked. Like, I saw in this last game that the Crocodiles were playing, they were rotating their defensive linemen. Like, they didn't always have to have Zakic, Zins, and Watson in at the same time. They had those 3 guys rotating with other guys on their defensive line, and not to like get too into it, but that's scary. Like when you can have Elijah Watson take a couple plays off and then come in on 3rd down, rested, not gassed at all, or have Zins come in later, rested. Same thing with Philip Zakic, and then Elijah plays both inside and outside. Actually, all of them I've seen play inside and outside on D-line. So you can exploit any matchup you want to. And then they add somebody like Chekin, who he's a legitimate, top tier defensive lineman on the interior. So that gives you the ability to move other pieces around and still get home and hold and stop the run, or, get pressure against the pass. I don't know what UNC plans to do, because that 5'10" quarterback they got, I don't know who doesn't run. I don't know what you're going to do with him against this group. Like, this is going to be dangerous. Interesting aspect. This is the game. Interesting aspect. This is the game I get another 50 burger this season. This is the game. I believe that the Crusaders defense has nothing for the Crocodiles. Nothing. And Christian Powell rushes for 150, maybe even 200. Sarkla catches 2 tubs. Whitehead might even run a touchdown. Am I up to 50? I don't know. However many. You got to score 7 touchdowns. Actually, no, they only have to score like 6, because they can still kick 2 or 3 field goals. And it doesn't matter who's kicking. It could be Etu Eminem, or it could be Yane Sarkla. They got options. I think Sarkla put in like a 30 or 40 yard in the last game. So they'll be fine either way. But I do want 50 points, Crocodiles. I would love to see a 50 burger. I think we've only had one so far this season. and that was just the Helsinki Derby. So if we can get a 50 burger, that'd be great. And I would do pick 'em. Okay, so going into our weekend picks, I did not update this, so I just add 2 to everybody. If we all pick the same picks. In first place is Chris Green at 10-1. Tied for second is Perfect Spencer and Coach Q at 9-2. And then Swami would be 6-2. And everybody else is everybody else. Don't worry about them. They're not putting it on the line here on the show. So picking is not easy. So we actually going to talk about our picks this week and see why we picked who we picked. But I think that we're all going to be pretty similar this week. You can catch our picks on Instagram at American Football in Finland, and you can make comments on there about who you like and who you don't like. Coach Q, who you got? Royals, Wolverines, Butchers, Steelrs, Crusaders, Crocs. Who you got and why?
I'm going Royals. Because I think Alpha would just go crazy in this game, and the Wolverines just don't really have depth or don't really have much organized as far as trying to have a strategy to win the game. So I'm going Royals. I think Timothy will just be too good. He'll play too great for what the Wolverines have. So I'm going Royals. Butchers. You said Butchers and who?
Butchers and Steelers.
Butchers and Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers. Even if it's a close game, I think the Steelers still find a way to kind of win, close it out. Even though Ambrose having his woes, I think he can also throw 3 touchdowns, against them, and 3 picks and still win. And lastly, you said Crusaders and
Crocodiles.
I'm going Crocs. Until the Crusaders make a change on offense. So I'm going Crocs. I just think if the same quarterback is there, the same stuff is going to happen. And it just sucks because I really want to go for UNC more, but I just can't do that. I don't have the confidence in that quarterback like that. But the Crocs are showing me exactly who they are and what they can do. So I'd be a fool to go against them.
A fool. But if they were the Steelers, you would still be able to go against them.
Yeah, all day.
What about you, Chris? Who you got and why?
So, Royals, Wolverines. I'm going Royals. I think that Alpha's going to work that secondary. I don't think the Wolverines got a chance. I think Timothy's going to pick them apart. And I don't think the Wolverines have got any shout, really, of doing anything. I hope my boy Kev gets some more catches and he gets some work. But in terms of the game, I can't see the Wolverines competing in this one. I think this could easily be a 50-burger. This game could be a 50-burger.
You think the Royals will put up 50?
I think they could. I'm not saying they will.
I don't think they have the dog mentality. I think it takes something to put up 50 on somebody. Like, you got to be like, you know what? Forget them and who they came with. Like, because once you get like 30-something points, that's when everybody starts putting in the backup, slowing it down. Nah, you got to be like, nah, F that. I don't think they have that mentality out there in Boston. I like what they're doing, but, they probably start taking photos or something if they get up by 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Taking good pictures in them blue unis.
Yeah, taking good pictures. I don't think they got the dog in them. I haven't seen it anyways. I mean, if you're going to do it, this would be the game to do it, though. I agree with that. Like, this would be the game to put up 50 when you're playing the worst team in the league. What about that last game, Crocs and UNC?
Hang on. We missed one.
Oh,
Butchers and Steelers.
Keep forgetting about those guys.
Yeah. So, easy to forget about the Dallas Cowboys. So, Steelers and Butchers. I am still going to back the Steelers. I think they have a better scheme. I think they've got better players, even though they don't have REASNOVER anymore. I still feel that they match up better than what the Butchers can offer. I think it will be a close game still, like a 1-2 score game, but I think the Steelers will prevail in the end because I think their defense is just too stronger still. Yeah. Even without REASNOVER on offense, I think their defense just helps them carry through games right now. And then finally, the last game, well, obviously the Crocodiles are going to win this one. And like you said, it could easily be a 50-burger. I can't see... I'm really disappointed this season with quarterback play overall, but it's just so difficult with the QB play not being great for teams to do well. And what you need if you haven't got a great quarterback play is a good running back. What the Crocodiles have, they got CP15. Mm-hmm. So, like you say, CP15 is going to rush all over him. The defense isn't good enough in UNC to stop him. He's going to get at least a buck 50, and he's going to run all over them. And hey, maybe they do put up 50 points as well.
Maybe there's 250 burgers this week. But yeah, I'm going Crocs.
I mean, I think it's clean sweep. Royals, Steelers, Crocs. Royals gonna win. I feel good about the Royals. I feel like they're unlike the not the Steelers, but actually, yeah, unlike the Steelers and the Butchers. I feel like I know what I'm gonna get from the Royals, and that comforts me, knowing that Timothy Moravic's gonna do his thing. He's proven to probably be the best quarterback in the league this year after a very bad first game, but he's been nothing but good since. Alpha's going to show out like he always does. I can rely on that. Their defense is good. It's not great, but it's good. Their defensive line is good enough. They can get things done. They have some young talent in the secondary and linebacker positions, but enough veterans that they'll, be able to beat this team of all teams. But I don't know if they'll put up 50 on them. They'll definitely be able to beat them, but it's going to be good to see them, work the way they want to. Then the Steelers, Butchers, I think like what you said, Chris, like this is going to be a closer game than it should be. Again, if Ambrose throws 4 picks, yeah, it's going to be super close, but I don't think he'll throw that many in this game. I don't think the Butchers defense gives you that kind of opportunity. I think that if he throws it deep, the person will actually be open instead of, him just throwing it up. Like, I don't think that they're going to be able to put that kind of pressure on him in this game. I think that they'll come with a better game plan so that he doesn't have to just throw it deep. Like, I don't think he'll be pressured into throwing it deep, if that makes sense. And then, yeah, the Crocodiles going to put up 50 because if I ask for something, you have to give it to me. That's how this podcast works. So, Crocodiles, I asked for a 50 burger. I'm going to need all them points. And I'm okay if you kick like 8 field goals to do it, too. That's 24. And then you just score 3 or 4 touchdowns. Like, I'm cool with that. I'm okay with however you want to do it. You know what? If y'all want to go in there and block a punt and get a safety or something, I'm cool with that too. Intercept the extra points. Yeah, intercept the extra point and take it back for 2, if that's possible. I know there's some ways you can do that. I don't care how you do it. Just give me 50. I need that 50 burger. But yeah, that's the picks.
If you're listening to my voice, you're now part of the AFF community. But don't be shy about supporting us. Head over to our website and order some AFF swag. Get a t-shirt for this beautiful summer weather, or a comfy hoodie you can rock all year long. And if you really want the drip, scoop up one of our limited edition snapback caps. Everything you need to represent the AFF community can be found on our website at AmericanFootballInFinland.com/merch. TIF. And never forget TIF.
That's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Hope it was worth the listen. Any last words before we get out of here, guys?
No. Let's see what happens.
Hey, all I'm going to say is I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. The quarterback play needs to be better. QBs this week, show me something. Please. Apart from Timothy. Timothy, you good. But the rest of you, show me something.
Yeah, he said it. Yeah, that's accurate. If you enjoy the show, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcast. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars as well. Anything less tells us you are a hater. You can follow us on the Gram and Facebook at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget
TIF.
We go.
We go.
American Football in Finland.